In a tea ceremony gathering, the first guest is called a shokyaku. They are the main guests at the gathering. They sit the closest to the host, and they have many roles to play within the tea ceremony. In this demonstration, there were 3 guests, but at larger gatherings, there can be several more, depending on the size of the room and the formality of the occasion. A thin tea gathering begins with the entrance of the host, who brings in a utensil called a mizusashi. This is a container for cold water, which will be used during the cleaning of the tea utensils later on. The host and the guests share a bow when the host enters the room. The host then brings in the other utensils that will be used to prepare and serve the tea. She's now brought in a chawan, which is the tea bowl, with a chasen, a piece of bamboo carved as a whisk for the pot of tea. A chachaku, which is a curved bamboo scoop used for scooping the tea out of the container called a natsume, which is next to the chawan. And this container has the powdered matcha tea inside it. The last utensils the host brings in are the kensui, which is a container in which to put used water, and the hishaku, a bamboo scoop, used to draw the water both from the kettle and from the mizusashi. The host then purifies all of the utensils that will be used during the thin tea serving with a cloth called a fukusa. First she's cleaned the natsume, the tea container, and then we'll clean the chashaku. And of course all the utensils have been cleaned prior to the serving of tea, but as a sign of respect for her guests, the host has cleaned them once again. Next, the host purifies the chawan, the tea bowl, and the tea whisk. After cleaning the utensils, the host then asks the guest to please enjoy a sweet. Sweets, in the context of the tea ceremony, are called kashi. And in green tea, the sweets served tend to be very dry, and are used to help offset the bitterness of the bowl of tea. In a thick tea gathering, a different kind of sweet is used. All traditional wagashi, which are often made of rice flour and sweetened beans, and often prepared in a way that makes them miniature works of art in themselves. To prepare a bowl of tea, the host scoops powdered matcha from the Natsume with the chashaku scoop, 1.5 scoops, and then after adding the hot water, whisks it briskly with the chasen. You need to whip it very rapidly to dissolve the powder into the hot water, and a very well-made bowl of tea has a thin layer of delicate foam on top. Once the host has prepared the bowl of tea, the first guest goes to receive it, brings it back to their seat, and then before drinking it, turns to the guest next to them and says, "Osaki Mino, please excuse me for going before you." The guest will then place the bowl in front of them and say, "Otamai chodai itashimasu," which is a formal expression which essentially means, "I'm now going to enjoy the bowl of tea that you've made for me," to the host. You will have noticed that the guest turned the bowl twice before drinking out of it. And the reason for this is that every tea bowl has a front side and back side. And the front side is usually indicated by a design or a distinguishing mark within the bowl. And out of a sense of respect for the bowl, the guest will turn to the opposite side, so they're not drinking out of the front side of the bowl. There are many distinct ceramics that are used within Chado, and the bowl that be served to the first guest is rakuware, which is probably considered the highest level of ceramics used for tea bowl. In the tea ceremony, raku bowls are often, not always, but often black and very solid and have a very symmetrical sense. And there are many famous kilns across Japan that have been making bowls and other utensils for tea for hundreds of years. After the guest has finished the bowl of tea, they will take a look at it to examine the bowl, to enjoy the work of the artist who made it, and will then share it with the other guests so that they can also see the bowl.